This is a 2005 Toyota Highlander with a 3.3 liter V6 engine, a 3M ZFE. This car has well over 220,000 miles on it and is still running just great. All of the diagnostics on the engine check out just fine. The fuel trims are great. The O2 sensors are showing good indications, so are the AFR sensors on the front. Everything is great with this car except that it is having some excessive vibration, especially when it's at a standstill in gear. Like at a stoplight, you feel some excessive vibration and some noises from heat shields rattling and so on. So in view of the age of the car and the fact that it seems to have the original motor mounts still on, in order to eliminate the vibration, the uncomfortable vibration, we're going to replace the motor mounts. Now, it's not clear that all the motor mounts are bad, but it's pretty clear that at least one of them is bad, and there's no way to tell which one. It has 3 mounts, one on each side in the wheel well, and one in the front of the radiator. So we're going to replace all 3. This right here is a kit that has all the motor mounts for this car in it, and I got it for a very economical price. This is a part number, and I'll also include a link in the video description in case that you're interested in getting something like this. Let's look inside. These are nicely packaged. This is a description of the items. It has the 3 main mounts plus the barbell at the top, plus the little insulator that goes on the back by the steering rack. This is a look at everything out of the box. I have the barbell, I have the 3 main mounts, and I have the rear insulator, and everything here looks really good. So let's get started. First thing I want to do is under the hood right here, just remove this barbell mounts. Before I do anything else, I'm just going to take this off, and I'm going to leave it off until I'm finished with the other mounts. You'll see why in a minute. This barbell mount is off now. It just had 2 14mm bolts holding it in, one from the side, one from the top. And removing this barbell is going to give the engine a lot more freedom to move up as needed, which is going to be really useful as we proceed. The next thing I do is I remove this strut bar from its position across the 2 struts here. And the reason is, if I don't remove it, then this manifold plenum will hit the strut bar as I lift the engine and prevent it from rising enough to remove the mounts. Next, I'm going to go around the mounts, and you see what I've done here. I've undone this retaining nut for the mount, as well as the other 2 that you access through these holes. All 3 of them are 17mm nuts, and I keep them on. I have them on there. All 3 are loose, and you'll see why in a moment. I do the same thing with this front mount. Okay, and this one has 14mm bolts, and you access them through like this. And this is the mount that I just replaced. You can see it's a brand new mount. I did that after loosening those other 2 mounts, and I'm going to show you how I did it, along with one more very important thing that I had to do. So looking in through the wheel well here, you can see the location of the rear insulator, and that rear insulator has a bolt that goes through it. It's this bolt. It's a long bolt, and I've removed this bolt, because if I don't remove the bolt, then the engine cannot rise up. The insulator will stop it. Now at this point, I've loosened this mount on the passenger side. I slipped a floor jack with a wood block under the oil pan, and I am lifting up here. Okay, and as I do this, everything moves up. You can see how this has moved up nicely here. And the main thing you want to do is tap the mount that's in there so that it releases from the top bracket. And then once you lift it far enough, you can just tilt it out toward you and remove it, put the new one in, and you may have to loosen the retainers for this power steering cooler line, or this power steering return line. Okay, it's bolted down to the cradle. You just loosen its retainer bolts or remove them so that it can move freely out of the way like this, and allows this mount to come right out. So that's how we do the mount on this side. One word of caution here is just be very careful with your fingers. Do not get your fingers in between the mount and the frame at any time, because you just never know what's going on with this hydraulic jack. And if the engine comes down on your finger, it's going to crush it real nice. And it's not like a cool little bruise. Your finger will be crushed. I'm repeating the process on the driver's side mount. I've lifted up a little bit with the jack. You can see how the mount has lifted up from the cradle, but it's stuck to its top position. And I'm just going to use this hammer to tap the mount and get it to release from there. And there, the new mount is in on the driver's side. I had to really loosen up the front mount completely, top and bottom. The front mount behind the radiator had to loosen up very significantly, so it was just barely staying on. Now, why do I want it to stay on? Because if it comes off entirely, if I have two mounts off the car, then it's very difficult to line things up again. So I always try to keep the other two mounts in place on their mounting holes, so that only one mount is off the car at any one time. Here's what I do to loosen up the top bolt on this front mount. I use a couple of long extensions. It's a 17 millimeter down there, and I can crack it loose like this. Now we deal with the front mount, and this one has some little complications unlike the others. First, it has this cable fastener that's on the front, but even more, it has this vacuum switching valve that is bolted right to the mount, and it has vacuum lines coming into it from above, which are right there. Okay, you can see them right there. So we have to kind of loosen things up, unfasten the vacuum lines, unfasten the electric connector for a vacuum switching valve, and maybe try to get the vacuum switching valve off of the mount. And then we're going to hope for the best that those are the three bolts that hold the top mount, or the top bracket of the mount, into the engine block. And let's hope that we don't have to remove those, but we're going to see. So this top mount, once you loosen it up, it comes out through the side here. Okay, so it's sort of like a breech birth of a lamb on a farm. You just, there it is. And there, the new mount is in. I just have to attach the vacuum switching valve. Just took a little bit of wiggling, and it sure did help that the other two mounts had been loosened up so that the engine could lift up high enough. The three main mounts are in. Here's the passenger side. Here's the front side behind the radiator. And here's the driver's side. They all look beautiful, don't they? With the 3 main mounts in, this leaves open the question of what to do with this rear insulator, which would be a real nightmare to replace. And as you recall, I removed the through bolt from the insulator so that the engine could be lifted high enough to replace the other mounts. So what I'm going to do is, this insulator just looks like it's good enough shape, and it doesn't do a whole lot of anything anyway. It doesn't bear any weight. It just sort of limits the rocking motion of the engine, and it's fine for doing that at this point. So I'm just going to leave it there. I'm going to rethread the through bolts and call it good. These are the motor mounts that I took out, and this is the front one by the radiator. It seems a little still pretty pliable. This is the passenger side. Is also still kind of pliable. The only one that really seems compromised is this one. It was the driver's side motor mount, and it's pretty much turned into a rock, and it has very little vibration absorption capability, it seems like. So probably this was the one that needed replacement the most. Of course, there's no way to tell that, you know, one has the cover on, you know, you can't really see what's going on, and you can't test it for compliance or anything. So anyway, also this barbell mount has a little bit of a hairline crack. Let's see, on which side was it? Yeah, it's on this side here. There's a little bit of a hairline crack surrounding the center bushing. So it's probably still good, but it got replaced anyway. So was it worth it to replace all the mounts? I don't know. The real test of was this all worth it is when I sit in the car and put it in drive with my foot on the brake. Does it shake and vibrate and rattle like it did before? And the answer is no, it really doesn't. This made a definite big improvement. So I think it was worth all the effort to replace those mounts. Okay, so let's put it in reverse. Quick test there. Yeah, that's very nice too. It's even nicer than forward drive. Thank you for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it, and if you have any questions or comments, please leave them below.